everyone, and welcome to round 8 of Division 2 in Zoom Racing League. We are here in Abu Dhabi for our 8th round. No shenanigans here, just short qualifying, 50% race, and we are going racing no track intro, so it's just me, my voice, and of course, my good old pal Luke. How you doing, Luke?
Good evening, Nathan. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm pretty decent and really looking forward to see this race on beauteous Marina track.
Alright. How about you take us through our standings and then our reserve drivers?
Yes, of course. So about the standings, It's is leading the pack behind, followed by John Ranger and Josh Madler. That's our top three. Then Jack Fletcher, Nick Hamrick, Blake Matteo, combined YouTuber Chap Tucker and Thomas Babsby is our top 10 in driver standings. P11 is Trent, then Mac, Sid, Big Mama Frank, Labib, Eric McNerney, Merck, Arrow, Spanini, and Rage is the last one on the driver standings. Checking the team standings, Mercedes is on the lead, followed by Ferrari, then Williams, Alfa Romeo on P4, Red Bull on P5, Aston Martin P6, Alfa Tauri, McLaren, Haas, and Alpine is closing the pack. Checking the reserves, there is Nate reserving for Ferrari. He's replacing Matteo. Cornelius Patel, who is reserving in Haas, replacing Sid, and Alex Karugaut is reserving in Red Bull.
Alright,
And I do believe he is replacing BMF.
I think BMF is D3? I'm not sure. I have no idea what Big Mama Frank's up to right now. But anyways, as you see, Buzzcott has retired from the session, so I don't see any indication of him serving a qualifying ban, but he has retired. So here we are. It is midnight and we are good for some qualifying. I'll take these standings down real quick. And here we go. But yeah, beautiful under the lights racing. We've seen plenty of action over the years. In real Formula 1 here, of course, we all remember 2021, and it's got good overtaking opportunities like this chicane that Trent is just going into, and then the next left-hander is also another good overtaking opportunity. Then, of course, we have the very twisty section of Sector 3. It's a right and then a left, and it's very tricky on the throttle there because you can either hold it about 80% all the way, or you can try and be a bit less stable and more quick out of the exits, but we'll get a good look at it as we go on. Let me just make some adjustments to my graphic settings, that way it is all looking crisp for you. Well, a bit, alright, maybe we won't, because that could be dangerous, but here we are. So we'll go on board with Trent for a whole app, and I'll let you take us through it, Luke.
Obviously, as usual, I don't remember the turn names. Not sure even do we have some, but Trent is already starting the lap, going to mid-speed turn 1, then the fast section around the pit exit through turn 2 and 3, going downhill to hairpin before the DRS zone, finishing first sector. Now he's speeding up, opening the DRS, trying to get a bit of slipstream from Red Bull ahead. Then first really heavy braking zone at the track to the chicane. Looks like he locked up a bit, but it doesn't impede it that much. Second DRS zone and going to last sector, most technical on this track. Looks like pretty decent speed around this long left-hander, and then going around the hotel. Couple of gentle lockups, I do believe, from Trent. But now last two turns off the lap, last braking zone, and Trent is going back on the main straight and crossing the line with 123.305. Pretty To be honest, I don't remember the times on the Slack, but it looks like Spanini is beating Trent already by half a second.
Yeah, times are definitely going to ramp up a little bit more than that as we see Chip Tucker going ahead, and even Wild Pro is going ahead, as he should, with a 122.4. We're expecting times to be close to the 21s. I don't know if anyone in D2 has gotten into the 21s, but I know quite a few quick people that are very close. So we'll see if anyone breaks that 21 second margin, or the 1 minute 21 second, I should say. I've made it into the 121, so you know, I think being a mid-pack D1 driver, some people should be able to equal me here. So we will see. We have a Haas of Labib who's invalidated his lap. We have a McLaren, meanwhile, who spun, or no, just stopped the car pretty much in Sector 3. So we'll look to see if anyone else is coming on a lap here. Chubb Tucker is not, but the other Mercedes of John Ranger is. He's looking to challenge Itchry and Wild Pros here tonight. So through the final corner, what will it be for the Mercedes? It will be a 1:22.668, right ahead of his teammate, but not by much. So could see some action there. The other Mercedes looking quite powerful tonight. Merc is going to cross the line and go P10. And then we have a McLaren who's just starting a lap, and Williams, who I think was Itchry, going P7. So as we covered in the standings earlier on, Itchry is leading the standings, however, only by 3 points. So in this position, to say if Itchry were to finish P7 and John Ranger to finish P3, that would be John Ranger into the lead of the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see what reserving driver for Ferrari, Nate, will be able to do, because we all do remember that he was reserving in Australia 2 weeks ago, and he managed to win the race. And also, I'm really curious about our tonight's debut in this season in McLaren, Sway, who just started the lap.
Just going through the fast left-right section. Turn 1, there is a track limits kind of exploit that you can do here, but the stewards have released that they will be heavily punishing those who choose to exploit that little loophole in the track. So hopefully not seeing anyone extend the track limits too much. You can go out and over that curb, but you have to keep 2 wheels on track, of course. So he's done that nicely, and he's gone about his way through Sector 1, and now his teammate Blake Stevenson goes fastest with a 1:22.326. With the track evolution, I would not be surprised to see him go into the 21s later on in the session.
Yeah, it is possible, especially that we know that track evolution is pretty powerful in this game. Like, I do believe it's way more powerful than it was in previous game editions. So that might be key to set your lap as late as possible. Meanwhile, Sway is going to cross a line, going out from last turn, and it's 1:23.1. That gives him P15.
Alright, and now the Red Bull and the Ferrari, Nick Hamrick and Jack Fletcher, are going to start their first laps shortly here. Nick Hamrick, I mean, P5 in the standings, however, he's always been kind of up there, so good idea to look at him during this race. And then Jack Fletcher is P4, 1 place ahead of him. I don't think either of them are going to be able to challenge for the championship at this rate, but they are in great positions nonetheless. Another thing to look out is Ferrari versus Mercedes. Ferrari will get half points for Nadewell here tonight as his reserve driver, but they are 6 points behind the Mercedes team in Division 2. So if they have a good team performance, they may well overtake them for the lead of the Constructors' Championship here tonight.
Yeah, and we had already a little bit of drama, because I do believe Nate just spun out on his flying lap in front of Labib, and he did this at exactly the same spot as during the famous or unfamous race you mentioned. Nicolas Latifi caused the late safety car, and I do believe he impeded the lap of Labib. So Labib had to run to the pit lane because of that issue.
Well, if that is true and Nadewell spun and that was what the cause of the impeding was, I don't think that is able to be penalized, but if it was truly impeding, then could be very true. Jack Fletcher setting the fastest second sector, at least according to the game. So Jack Fletcher on some pace here tonight, but what can he do through the final sector? This is going to be what makes or breaks your qualifying lap. He's taking it okay, but you really want to push these track limits here, and he hasn't done so, so a little bit more left on the table for the Ferrari driver. Hopefully he can find it on his next lap. Tricky final corner, I must say. You have to brake right on the line and then turn in the car. It's kind of an interesting corner, but a 22.1 is a great first lap for the Ferrari driver. Sets him fastest of all right now. Nadewell, his teammate P4 in the pits right now, but we will see who else is going to be on a lap soon. It looks like Enrique McNuby or Eric McNerney is just starting his, but let's try and find anyone who is about to finish one. I think the Red Bull of Nick Hamrick might be the next one to finish a lap here. Good pace, as I mentioned, and through the final sector. Crosses the line right about now, and it's going to be a 1:22.401.
It's really, really tight. I mean, for now, from P1 to P17 is 1 second gap, so it's really close session so far.
Yes, it is, and you know, I don't think the pace in Division 2 has been like very spread out as it has been in the last few seasons. You know, mostly it's been a few very quick people, but I've noticed that we have, you know, a lot of contenders in the day. I think at least 10 of these drivers have the potential to be fighting for the top 5 in and out again in weekends, so we will see how this one driver in particular, Enrique McNuby, will slot into the top 10, pushing the track limits very nicely. So what can the Alfa Romeo do in the entire lap? A 22.4 proves my point exactly. Chubb Tucker in the meantime has gone P3, and Nick Hamrick is still P4. Blake Stevenson, someone to watch out for. The Ferrari of Nadewell will be out soon as the other Ferrari comes back in the pits. Ethan Patel, one of our reserve drivers, hasn't touched the game since March 24th, I believe he said. So, he's top 8 right now. Could be a very good lap for him, but he's actually already finished his lap. But here we go, 4/10 up for John Ranger. This would be good enough for P2 at least right now, but assuming he improves in the final sector, this could be provisional P1 for John Ranger here.
You can gain and you're gonna lose a lot in final sector, and John Ranger did it. Almost 7/10 of improvement, and that's provisional pole for Mercedes driver.
As Ethan Patel has spun around in sector 2 and kind of gets in the way of an AlphaTauri. I believe that's Merc. He's going through the final sector now. But yes, 7/10 of improvement for John Ranger. That is a brilliant lap from him. Yeah, I'll try to be more emotional if he wins here tonight. I completely missed it last weekend, which he wanted to highlight. So we'll continue on in our qualifying session. The end of the second run stage is about right now. So we'll just see if anyone is going to finish a lap. I think Merc.
My YouTuber is finishing the lap, and he is going to improve, but only 3 positions improvement. For P14, just in front of his teammate and really close behind Itrai and Williams. And I have to mention that because it looks like Arrow finally got the track that fits him. Really strong quality for Williams driver, P10 so far.
Yes, outperforming Itrai as you know, I don't think he ever has outperformed Itrai in the season's championship, but that's not to say that he shouldn't start now, of course. Nadewell, the only one to be on a hot lap right now, I believe. He's taking it nicely, using that curb on the right-hand side to give him a little bit more rotation, and he is 0.04 of a second up. So, down this long straight after, not the tightest hairpin ever, but a good one. Carries good speed, and now he will sail down this straight. He's got a McLaren in front of him, but probably won't get a tow, and he has lifted off. So, I wonder if this is because he's running out of sequence. because I think with 4 minutes left, he should try and hustle back to the pits and try and put on a new set of boots and just get out for a final lap. He's gone up very early for his final lap, so I don't think he should continue on with this one.
Yeah, especially that tire wear is another thing to speak about at this track. It's pretty high, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least part of the drivers to use two-stop strategy for tonight's race.
Yes, I remember fighting in Division 3, I believe it was, with John Ranger, Simon Colston, and all those fellas last season, and Simon Colston actually opted for the two-stop strategy. I don't remember how it went for him. It didn't go horribly, but that is a telling piece of information on how the two-stop works here. So, Nadewell, I think, will go on a hot lap now. This will be the final lap for the Ferrari driver, so hopefully a valid one.
Yeah, meanwhile, our new driver for McLaren Team Sway just finished his lap. He improved just a bit, managed to overtake Labib and Trent, that placed him on P16. So not the best quali session for our newcomer, but still it's only 8/10 out of the pace from the leader. So maybe it's not that Sway is at the bad time. It's just the grid is really strong and really close to each other.
Yes, as all of the drivers now come out of the pits, we're at that 3-minute mark now pretty much, and we will be ready for some final hot lap soon. Of course, Nadewell is going to finish it soon. He's only 600s up on his previous time though, so that would put him to, let's see, that would put him P6 right now, so he needs a big improvement through this final sector if he wants to be in the top 5 for qualifying. And it looks like he's pushing the track limits not too much, but he'll continue on for the final sector, flat out right-hander as you should, and then through the final corner, keeps good traction, and across the line it will be a 22.475 and only good enough for P7 right now. And look at how many outlaps we have here.
And basically almost hold the grid, excluding Nadewell, Sway and Steven Alvarez.
Steven Alvarez making a surprise return for, I think he's going to fill in for our reserve driver for Red Bull. So, yeah, Steven Alvarez, I mean, he's been here for a long time, hopefully able to put in a decent lap later on in the set. Actually, no, he can't, sorry. He's done in qualifying, I should say. Now, the Williams has taken track position here on the McLaren, and that was Itchrai, who's just starting a lap. His teammate already on a lap. So we'll go on board with the Williams here. This is the final, or the first of the final laps, I should say, for this qualifying session. Third gear through the whole thing, and I don't know, wasn't on the power quite too early, so we'll have to see what the Williams improves by, if he does improve. Improves by about a 10th, so that would be good for P9, and I'm P9 only right now, so hopefully good final sector for the Williams. As we have a McLaren who's around. Blake Stevenson has stopped the car in the hairpin section. Really has to get back on it if he wants to continue his session. I can't see how much time we have left, but I would imagine the McLaren can't make it as he smacks into the wall. I wonder if
Arrow is going to cross the line, and it's P3 for Arrow so far, just 3 milliseconds behind Jack Fletcher. What a lap by a Williams driver.
Yes, what a great lap from Arrow. I mean, I expected maybe P17 in the qualifying for him. That's normally where he falls in the race. But no, P3. I mean, hugely impressive from Arrow. So what can his teammate do? The next one to finish a hot lap. Itchrai needs to push if he wants to continue his championship fight here. And he's going to bring it across the line for P6 only. So next is the Aston Martin.
Apologies for interrupting, but combined YouTuber, it looks like he crashed himself. He's out of the session. He crashed himself in Sector 3 at the beginning.
Yes, he has.
While Forrest placing himself on P2, just in front of Jack Fletcher so far.
John Ranger, the first driver into the 21s. Then Ethan Patel goes P7. Next was the Alfa Romeo, I believe that was. And now the Ferrari of Nadewell crosses the line. Or no, that was Jack Fletcher. Next car into the... Where am I going? Here we go. Into the 9s. And then...
P4.
And Chubb Tucker.
And Chubb Tucker
goes
P4.
Sorry for that
So
little bit of a mess.
Only 2 drivers managed to go under 22s. And it's really close between John Ranger and Jack Fletcher. And I will say it again, great quali for Arrow, placing himself on P6, just 4 milliseconds behind Nick Hamrick. What a lap.
What a lap indeed. But can he convert it in the next part of our weekend here? Race will be coming soon, so we'll have to see what happens here. But Arrow, I mean...
I have to say that Arrow is really respectfully driver. I was driving against him plenty of times. And he always was really respectful on the track during the race, so can't wish him bad during this race.
Absolutely not, but here we go. So, we're on board with Alfa Romeo here. Enrique McNuby finished P7, but we will bring our order to you very shortly. And here it is. Okay, so P1 goes to John Ranger, and then followed by Jack Fletcher. The 2 Canadians lock out the front row. Then it is the Dutchman of Wild Pros. Then 2 Americans, Chubb Tucker and Nick Hamrick for Mercedes and Red Bull, respectively. Then the Frenchman, Arrow. And then it's Eric McNerney, Mac, Blake Stevenson, Ethan Patel, Itchrai, Nadewell, Spanini, Combined YouTuber, Merck, Sway, Trent, Labib, Alvarez, and Buzzgod. Still not sure what happened to Buzzgod. I couldn't see anything about the qualifying ban for him, so maybe he's just doing a nice little last to first challenge here.
And 18 drivers within 1 second split, so really surprisingly close, I have to say.
Thomas Busby. Okay, so he has 4 penalty points, so that is why he does have a qualifying ban. It wasn't noted, but here we go. You know what time it is. It's time to crack open the cold one. I don't know if you heard that, but cracking it open in honor of the Pullman's, little tradition that he has in the Division 1 broadcast. John Ranger going to start off the race on pole position. Hopefully he hasn't anything to drink, because that would be no bueno in terms of what's going to happen in the race, but we will see. Not sure about the strategy. I think it's going to be a mix of hard mediums to mediums hard. Pretty tricky on the tires here, because lots of degradation because of the heat and just the nature of the circuit itself, so we will see what the strategy will be soon. One of the most expensive Grand Prix to attend, I believe, especially if you're in the Paddock Club that we see up right here. They get a good view of the start-finish straight, but that is not where most of the overtaking is going to be happening. It's going to be on the first and second straight. A lot of overtakes I'm going to expect into that chicane, and then maybe even to the left-hander that follows straight after. We have only a few moments until lights out, and we will take you there very, very shortly. But here we go. So the lights are coming on now. We have 4 lights and we have 5 lights, and the lights are all going to go out right now. And then what is the result going to be from the line? It looks like the Ferrari gets a lot of wheel spin, but the Alfa Romeo of Wild Pros is going to make it 3 wide into turn 1, concedes to the Mercedes. John Ranger leads the race, and we have a little bit of 2 wide action with the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo. It's been sorted out. The Red Bull of Steven Alvarez has gone around in the first corner, and then we got lots of position changes in the back. Here is the mid-pack, and then we have the 2 Williams, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, and McLaren all going at it. We have 3 wide into the hairpin even. So what will it be as we go through? No other incidents other than the Red Bull going around, but they do look to be touching in this straight here. So do we get any overtakes? We might. The arrow down 4 setups of all these drivers mixing, and we'll give you the order through the chicane. The Red Bull of Nick Hamrick seems to have gone a lot deep, and then 3 wide still into the chicane. Lots of contact, and the Aston Martin is around. I believe that is Mack who's nearly gone around. He's kept it straight. We will continue on through the chicane, lots of bumping and racing, but of course rubbing is racing. So Nick Hamrick's been overtaken by the Mercedes of Chubb Tucker, and then meanwhile Mac losing more positions as he goes down the order. Lots of overtaking happening here, mostly clean, but what do you think of the race start here as we have Labib and Mac actually going wheel to wheel? Whoa, as Mac goes very deep and off the track and nearly loses this car again, hits a bollard for good measures, and the Red Bull is going to follow through. So let's look at our tires here. Hards and pretty much actually all hards other than 4 drivers, so mediums for the rest. John Ranger still leads, but 2/10 only to the Alfa Romeo in the back. We could see some overtaking very soon. The Mercedes of Chubb Tucker is the one who's going to be trying to hang on to the 3 cars ahead of him, but I do think Josh Mulder is in a very good position to be making this overtake soon. So what will it be from the Alfa Romeo? Will he go now, or will he go on the next corner? Looks like he's going to go now. He's got lots of run on the Mercedes, and he's gotten that move easily done. Will Jack Fletcher try and follow through? I don't think he's going to intend to, but he does have a great run on the Mercedes anyway. Does he dive? No, he doesn't, but he forces the Mercedes off his line ever so slightly. So can he get a run through the next part of this track? We will have to see. Meanwhile, Nadewell in the Ferrari has actually gone off, but he's coming back off the track, and P9 for him, no penalty. So I wonder if there will be any illegal overtakes. Meanwhile, we have lots of 3-wide action here. The Ferrari pulls off to the side to let everyone by, and here we go. Any contact into this left-hander? No, but the lines are staying close. So off to you, Luke.
Really close to contact between Trent and Ethan Patel, and surprisingly, Trent decided to pull on the soft boots on the race start. Huge surprise, because I won't believe that this compound will be able to run longer than 5 maybe laps. So huge surprise, but so far, excluding minor incidents, minor touches, it looks like we didn't see any big incidents. So grid is going to be split really fast. We don't see big train Nadewell with penalty right now. Mac is making a little bit of contact with Steven Alvarez. Lucky for him, he managed to save his car. Aero is fighting with Spanini. That's battle for P10, side by side through the hairpin, and it looks like Aero is behind Spanini, so he didn't manage
them all.
Yes, indeed, and there is also Ethan Patel, who is trying to stick his nose to the inside on Spanini. Apologies, it was combined YouTuber, not Ethan Patel. That's white and dark color pricked me. Apologies for that.
That is all good, but yes, close racing so far. OG, the D3 Ferrari driver, has some colorful comments. He thinks he should be in that Ferrari right now that is sitting in P16. With the penalty, though, I didn't see how much it was. 3 seconds. I can't imagine what that was for. I didn't get to see it, but meanwhile, the Aston Martin is trying to overtake Sway. Our newest driver is going to kind of get the ringer treatment here, unless he can get... Whoa, as Mac goes around just a little bit wide of turn 2, and that really offset his line, and he goes all the way around. Big snap of oversteer for him. Meanwhile, let's go on board with John Ranger, who's being overtaken by the Ferrari right now. Jack Fletcher is going to go through on the Mercedes, but the Mercedes tries to get a little bit of a switchback, gets a lot better traction through that corner. So these two fighting will help Wild Pros go all the way in the lead of the race with the second
might
gap.
be on the play with overtake on Fletcher. Close, but not close enough to make a move. And on the second DRS zone, it's all about exit of the chicane, and to be honest, I noticed that Patel is spinning around.
Meanwhile, the other Haas goes for a very big move on the McLaren. Definitely no nice movements towards our newest driver here in Division 2. But Labib is not even going that quickly, so we'll have to see what goes on there. But yes, Ethan Patel goes around after, I can't even know what that was about, but he has gone around, so that's all we have to know. John Ranger, meanwhile, has actually made it back into the DRS gap of Josh Mulder. That is hugely crucial to how this race is going to play out. Braking early, it seems, because the gap really went up through the entry of that corner, but now it's gone down again, so we will see. Barely under 1 second. Can the Mercedes keep it in line for this next part of the track here? Meanwhile, Trent H getting past Arrow. Actually, Arrow getting past Trent H, I should say. The soft tires are already kind of going away. But we'll see with Jack Fletcher. I mean, he's closer to the Mercedes, and the Mercedes is close to the Alfa Romeo. But both have DRS, so nothing really happening there. Meanwhile, Enrique McNewby going to get overtaken around the outside by the McLaren of Blake Stevenson. Got done by Nick Amrick, so now it goes to Blake, who's got the inside line, and he's got the overtake done on the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I mean, you was wondering why Ethan Patel spun out. I do believe he was just a bit too impatient with throttle, because you can't go full throttle over there because you will lose your rear traction at similar issue as in turn 3 in Miami. I mean, in Vegas, so probably that's what past reserve driver did over there.
Yeah, Ethan Patel always tends to have a bit of a spin when you least expect it, but he is hit once again. Remember Singapore in, I think it was Division 2 a few seasons ago. Actually, it might have been Division 1. But yeah, just had a spin, and that caused big problems. So here comes Blake Stevenson on Nick Hamrick. It's going to be an easy move into the chicane. He'll have it done before the braking zone. And a good move from the McLaren driver. But now he'll have to fight the Red Bull through the next part. But he does have DRS to help him from the car ahead. So should be said and done for Blake Stevenson here. Meanwhile, at the front, no action happening. I wonder if John Ranger is just trying to save his battery a little bit. We have a caution, though. That is for McLaren. That is Sway, who actually I have no idea what happened to Sway. It seems to be going just fine. But we did have a caution there, and it seemed that the McLaren was offline. So I guess we will continue on.
Sway is fighting really hard against Labib for another lap. And I have to say, we were watching Blake Stevenson and Nick Hamrick, and now they are in pretty good position, because Itchry was struggling with battery a few moments ago, and they both, Stevenson and Hamrick, got a battery, pretty big battery advantage over Williams driver.
Sway, meanwhile, with the penalty, the second one of the session,
yeah.
sorry. But here we'll go Blake Stevenson on the Williams driver. A fairly simple move, as he has done the past few laps, but now it is up to whether he can keep the move. Meanwhile, in the back we have Trent H with Arrow and Combined YouTuber. Might get an overtake here if the AlphaTauri is going to send it up, but big contact actually from the Alpine of Spanini into Combined YouTuber into Arrow, so that is going to mess it up a little bit. Combined YouTuber will get past, meanwhile, and now the AlphaTauri of Merck is going to get past Spanini too. So into the next corner we have the Williams and the AlphaTauri battling it out. Around the outside goes Arrow. Does he get the move done? No, he doesn't, but now he has the other AlphaTauri to worry about. Will Merck get the run into the next corner? I don't think he'll send it, but if he does, that would be monumental. Meanwhile, Sway and Labib still fighting. This battle has gone for a while, and Labib actually Sway nearly losing it. Labib taking the inside line. Good overtake from the Haas driver, but yeah, the McLaren nearly flew around. We saw the driver catch that little snap of oversteer. So good driving from both of them until Labib got a penalty.
And this battle was equalized once again, because both drivers got penalties. Meanwhile, I'm watching Combined YouTuber is closing to Trent. It's right. It's over Blake Stevenson losing 2 positions.
Because Yeah, he has lost the third. Enrique McNewby goes past him too. Meanwhile, the Red Bull and the Williams are fighting here. Down the inside goes it try. Actually, Nick Hamrick was the one going for it and backed out in the end. And now we'll have the run into the next corner. The Williams a little bit tricky on the throttle on the exit of that corner. So will the Red Bull get past here? It might be the inside line, it might be the outside line. We will see for the Red Bull. He definitely has to run inside line for the Red Bull, and he will get the overtake done quite easily. Meanwhile, Enrique McNewby trying to get, or stay ahead, I should say. And meanwhile, actually, Schrei has re-overtaken the Red Bull, so now Nick Hamrick has the inside line still. Who will get the position here? Nearly forces the Williams off, but Nick Hamrick is still in the lead of this battle, but the Williams does have a better line through here. Will we see an overtake in Sector 3? Just barely, and the Red Bull has a bit of a slide, so this could be a very, very nice battle for P5 right now. As the Williams goes wide.
Oh! No, it was just a dissing for me because I wanted to scream that Blake Stevenson just lost his car, but nothing happened. Lucky. Meanwhile, behind them, when we're speaking, my YouTuber managed to
go finish your sentence real quick.
Combined YouTuber managed to gain position. So is Arrow. Oh, and I see what you wanted to say. It was AlphaTauri of Merck who lost a couple of positions.
Yeah, that wasn't quite what I was going to mention. This is actually the battle from 7th and 8th. Blake Stevenson completely flew into the back of Enrique McNewby in the second corner, just closed on the Alfa Romeo so much, and big contact, nose to gearbox. So surprised that the Alfa Romeo didn't go around, but here we go, another yellow flag. What is that for? Is that for an Alpine? Is that for Buzzgod? I think it might have been, because he's been overtaken. Not sure what happened to Buzzgod there, but Alvarez has made the overtake. Meanwhile, Arrow is gonna try maybe get a switch back on Spanini here. Just have a better line, but not the exit speed that he would like. Chubb Tucker has actually dropped out of the DRS from the 3 cars ahead. That must have been a big moment for that to happen, so we'll see. John Ranger has done a good job of saving the battery and regaining it, so now soon we might see an attack from the Mercedes driver. He's got Jack Fletcher right behind him though.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Chubb Tucker is, it looks like he's out of that party. He dropped out from DRS range to leading 3. Deploying hard as he can, but he will be out of this battle so far. And it's right, we'll try to re-overtake Nick Hamrick for P5.
Yes. So the same battle we've been looking at for a while now. Itchrai and Nick Hamrick, and the two behind. No moves being made right now. Meanwhile, I kind of want to look at John Ranger here because he's fully on the battery. He's got the DRS open. Will he try and take the Alfa Romeo? He looks to be a bit too far back, but he does still have the battery advantage. So we'll see what the Mercedes can do in the next few laps here. John Ranger definitely wanting to get the lead of the championship back. Last week out, he told us that he wanted to start a streak of winning races, and he might be on course to continue the streak that he has right now, which is only one, but still, streaks can be made from anything. Especially... Never mind. Not gonna make that joke at this time. We'll continue though.
I mean, meanwhile, I just noticed that Labib was the first one to visit his mechanics. He decided to pull on fresh medium boots for his Haas. And he was battling with Sway and more or less Ethan Patel and Max, wondering will this affect strategy for drivers behind him?
Yes, meanwhile, let's continue looking at this battle between P5, 6, 7, and 8. It looks like the Williams is going to go for a move on this straight here. He's opened up the battery a little bit, and he's got the DRS wide open. So down the inside for the Williams driver, will the McLaren go for him next? We'll see if Blake Stevenson is opportunistic here, but is not. So we'll continue on. Williams seems to go a bit deep, so the Red Bull might have a run, and the McLaren of Blake nearly got a run on both of them, but decided not to. We could have 3 wide action here as the Red Bull of Nick Hamrick is closing on the Williams. Will go for the outside line here. and he's going to try brave it around the outside, and he has done so. Does he get the better exit that he needs to keep this move going? I think he does, but the Williams is still going to keep a nose in and loses the position in the end. So at one moment, I thought the McLaren was going to be able to take both of them, but hasn't done so. Meanwhile, in the back, Alvarez and Buzzcott going wheel to wheel here through the same corner we were just going through. And it looks like Alvarez has got ahead of the Alpine driver.
Yes, indeed, and somewhere between those situations, Arrow made a mistake on braking to the chicane, and I just noticed, and I'm really surprised that Trent is still able to hold on behind combined YouTuber on his soft boot. So maybe he find some kind of solution for better lower tire wear than expected.
Yeah, sorry, Nick Hamrick has gone wide in the hairpin, and now he's going wheel to wheel with the Williams, who somehow is not faster in a straight line. Blake Stevenson will see the DRS not open on the Red Bull, and maybe will send it on the Red Bull. Switches to the outside line at the very last moment, but will stay behind the Red Bull for now. It's the same situation as it was last lap. Williams a little bit deep and a little bit tricky on throttle, so now Blake Stevenson might try and get the pair of them. Meanwhile, Nick Hamrick's going to have the inside line for the next corner, and now Blake Stevenson might even try and fit in a nose here. He's going to keep behind the two for now. He sees the two battling. He's gone a bit wide of the corner, though. I don't think he'll have much say in this fight, but Itchrai has kept it in front of the Red Bull driver, good on the throttle through that corner, and that has helped him majorly, and going a bit deep still through these corners. So Nick Hamrick, I mean, if he's opportunistic enough, anywhere can be an overtaking opportunity. Meanwhile, Alvarez has retired from the session, and we have a full course safety car.
And it's
you can see
really bad news for top 4, because they were out of the pit entry when the safety car was appealed.
Yeah, especially Nick Hamrick, who just got a penalty, and Smanini also got one. I'm going to assume that's for the pit entry that we know is bugged. But yeah, we went on board with Labib, and we saw the Red Bull out on the right side of the track. Must have just had a moment through that very tricky left-hander and slammed into the barrier, because that car was missing a front suspension. So we'll see what, actually we won't see what caused that crash, because we don't have replay technology here. But we'll continue on. Yeah, like you said, top 4 did not get into the pits. They do have a 21-second gap, meanwhile, and for some reason we saw the Mercedes walking up and nearly flying into, I can't remember what car it was, but yeah, hopefully the top 4 can get into the pits. 21 seconds still the gap, and I think under safety car conditions it only takes about 15 seconds to pit. I could be wildly wrong about that, but we'll see.
Meanwhile, I'm watching the tires the driver was picking, and it looks like everyone, excluding Nadewell, Arrow, and Sway, decided to go for mediums. Prix, I mentioned, decided to pick hard boots, and I do believe that's a way better call. Obviously, most of the grid was on hard, so they didn't have the option to continue on harder compounds.
I have to say, somehow the strategy has worked out for Trent H. Let's just take a look at where he started the race. He started at P17. He's in P10 now, and he's on the right strategy of tires. So good job from the Aston Martin boys. I'm surprised he kept those softs on for as long as everyone else did. Little bit of a wait for the Mercedes driver, and now a double stack for both Mercedes. So order, I think, will remain the same unless Itchrai can somehow get ahead of the Mercedes in the pits. I don't know what this camera angle it is, but it is horrible. Here he is. Okay, here's the Mercedes. Itchrai has actually gotten ahead, and maybe the two of Nick Hamrick and Blake Stevenson will get out ahead of the Mercedes as well. Onto the track they come, and yes, they have. Chubb Tucker has lost 3 positions due to a double stack with Mercedes, so that is not what you want to see.
Obviously, Itchrai, Nick Hamrick, and Blake Stevenson will be happy about this. Nick Hamrick with time penalty. Not ideal for Red Bull driver, but it's 3 seconds for track limits. That's the one you mentioned for some code issue of entering pit lane at this specific track.
Yes, I think that was the issue that caused it for Nick Hamrick, because we were under safety car conditions when that penalty was given. So maybe some appeals there. Something to note though, this little trio here, actually I should say 4 drivers of Itchry, Nick Hamrick, Blake Stevenson, and Eric McNerney, they were all quite a few seconds behind the top 4, and now this is their chance to really get in there. And now Itchry is even top 4 because of the double stack. So this is a little bit of a shake-up to what we had before. This allows drivers like Sway, Ethan Patel, Mac, and Labib to really get back to the pack, which they will be happy about. Mac, no penalties, but we saw him have that spin earlier on, and that's why he is so far back now.
And apologies. Nate and Arrow, they both dropped down quite a lot comparing to their starting positions. Obviously, Nate made a mistake. Arrow was just struggling a bit with pace. He was fighting all he got, but it wasn't enough to keep his great qualifying position. Sadly for myself, both half boys are struggling with some pace and other issues. Obviously, Ethan Patel made a mistake. He spun out and dropped a lot of positions.
Yes, he has. Let's take a look though at the tires. I think all mediums other than 3. Nadewell, Arrow, and Sway. Sway, I mean, not a bad debut so far. Has been battling kind of towards the back, but I think that's where the second McLaren driver was falling anyway. For some reason, Wild Pros has made a big gap to John Ranger, which will now be pretty much going through the entire grid. Should have safety car in this lap, but we will see. Right now, the fight for P1 in the drivers or the constructors championship will go to Mercedes as they extend their advantage, but the fight for the drivers championship, John Ranger will be overtaking Itchry unless Itchry can go 3rd or better. But here we go. The safety car is going to start pulling away from the pack of F1 cars that we have here tonight. Wild Pros will be the one leading us off through the tricky final sector. I will wait a little bit to let his tires warm up. I'm assuming he's holding the brake a little bit while going on the throttle, just using that brake temperature to heat up the tires as much as you can. It's going to be quite slow, but I imagine he'll go before the final corner, so we'll wait for him to just launch us off and try and catch out the Mercedes of John Ranger, who's staying close, staying very close. And we wait, and we wait, and we wait. Wild Pros will not go yet. And there he goes. And he's cut out the Mercedes quite a little bit, so 7/10 about the gap from the leader and P2. Meanwhile, we'll look back a little bit. Blake Stevenson seems to be the closest one out of the top 6 to have gotten it. We still have a yellow flag in the back. Not sure what that's for, but looks like it has been resolved. So we'll continue on with our race in Abu Dhabi here. Looks like a bit of a gap has already been made from Chubb Tucker to Blake Stevenson. 9/10 it is, and he's going to go over 2nd here. So not too good for Chubb Tucker, who was P4 before the double stack, and now he's down to P7, might be P8 by the end of this next straight here. Everyone kind of dumping the battery, or maybe not, as we go down the straight. 1 second the gap from P1 and P2, but we will see if any overtakes are being made here. It looks like the Aston Martin is going to try. Never mind, just a bit of illusion. Spanini, actually Buzzcut it is, and the Alpine gets past the Williams of Arrow, who's dropped down a lot from his qualifying spot of P6. So we'll see if he can continue to fight for these positions here on the hard tires. One of the only 3 drivers to go, and Jack Fletcher actually has overtaken John Ranger for P2. Great move from the Ferrari driver, making up positions at the start of the safety car restart. Has, however, dropped 50% of his battery, while John Ranger only dropped about 20. So we'll see what Jack Fletcher can do.
And Wild Force with time penalty for track limits. That's 3 seconds for a race leader. It might be a game changer for this battle.
Yeah, we say that as he sets the fastest lap and does a 1:24.693, pulled about 1 second and a little bit of change on the Ferrari driver. So 3 seconds gap that he needs to be still winning this race, but right now he doesn't have it. In fact, I think he'd be as far as P6 right now, because this pack behind him is very, very close until it goes to Chubb Tucker, who's second and a little bit behind. Eric McNerney, surprised he hasn't dumped his battery more, but he will go maybe soon for an overtake. Actually, he's being overtaken by a combined YouTuber who's gonna go around the outside. It's gonna be easy move for the AlphaTauri driver in the end, unless there is another challenge from him. And then in the back, it seems Merck is gonna maybe try to get a move done on Spanini, but doesn't do so. Mac and Ethan Patel are the ones battling right now. Looks like battery
Sway
on.
is trying to make a move on Arrow. He's deploying a lot. They are side by side, and it looks like Arrow managed to keep his position.
Yes, meanwhile, Eric McNerney losing another position to the Aston Martin of Trent H. So Trent has done a good job with everything he's done tonight in the race, using the right tires, and he's gotten into P9. So good recovery drive so far for him. Meanwhile, DRS is enabled for the front of the field. It will not be given to any of our top 3 drivers. So Itchrai will be the one to first benefit from the open rear wing on the back of his car, unless in this little left-right section John Ranger can get the DRS advantage, and it doesn't look like he will. And no, he hasn't, so we'll continue on. A little bit of rear locking from the Mercedes as Jack Fletcher has a big moment out of that hairpin and actually does get DRS for the Mercedes. So we could see an overtake for P2 again in the next corner.
Really close to contact between Jack Fletcher and John Ranger.
Overtake on with the Mercedes driver. He's going to probably be going around the outside unless he tries for the inside, but it looks to be an easy move for the Mercedes driver. Jack Fletcher will slot in behind the Mercedes as they both try and catch Wild Pros here.
Meanwhile, behind the pack, Sway is still fighting with Arrow. Great switch back to the chicane. Arrow made, but he lost position once again for McLaren driver, and he is counter-attacking and getting that P15 back once again.
Listen, I'm surprised we haven't had more incidents through this Sector 3 here. We remember Nicholas Latifi going into the barriers, but no Latifis here tonight. So, good job, other than what we saw in qualifying. McLaren of Sway does have a moment, so that's going to allow the Haas of, I believe that's Ethan Patel, to get it done on the McLaren, who actually goes a bit deep. The Haas goes a bit deep, and now they're going to make a little bit of contact through this right-left. McLaren tried to re-overtake the Haas, but didn't get it in the end. It might be an overtake even from Mack, who's going to send it down the inside in this hairpin here. And he does get the move done on the McLaren, but the McLaren keeps the nose in a little bit, and that's going to let Labib even have an opportunity to get a run on the McLaren driver, which he does so. Meanwhile, the Aston Martin of Mack closing in on Ethan Patel. Will it be down the inside? Yes, it will. We know this Aston Martin is so opportunistic here as they make contact even, so it's going to be 3 wide almost into this next part. And we have more action in the front. We should probably focus on Jack Fletcher and John Ranger going wheel to wheel here. The Ferrari with the inside line forces the Mercedes a little bit wide, and there we go. So good move from the Ferrari driver. The pack is really bunching up back here. However, the gap from P1 to P2, 2.7 seconds. Wild Pros might be home free here.
Yeah, Wild Pros is showing really impressive pace after that safety car restart. So maybe he just feels way better on that medium compound. Meanwhile, Enrique McNerney is still really close behind the combined YouTuber, and he might be able to attack him on the DRS zones. Especially that combined YouTuber is struggling with his battery, and Enrique McNerney is have quite a lot saved of battery.
As John Ranger
They are side by side.
Yeah, sorry, John Ranger is getting hit by a try, but he lifted off to not overtake the Ferrari. I'm guessing so he can have the opportunity to overtake here. So, not getting a really good run on the Ferrari though. This battling is only going to hurt them. Going down the inside goes the Mercedes, and the Ferrari is going to try to keep it around the outside, but doesn't in the end. Meanwhile, in the back, Blake Stevenson and Nick Hamrick are going at it just a little bit. Blake Stevenson is going to have the inside line. He'll have the position going into the next corner.
Yeah, it's really close behind them. Chaptaker and Trent. Spanini is overtaking Nate. He's immediately dropping position to Merck as well.
Yeah, I think that was an overtake in Sector 3, so must have forced the Ferrari off the line enough for him to lose another position to Merck. No, Fletcher has really been dropped by the Mercedes. He's going to get back into the DRS now. But man, that gap went out quick. Will there be DRS on the Ferrari even? No, there won't. I wonder if John Ranger knows that, because he's not really gaining much on the straight. Meanwhile, Itchrai is going to try to overtake Jack Fletcher down the inside for this next chicane. Meanwhile, the other Mercedes might be opportunistic as well. Nothing really happening though. And meanwhile, Fletcher and Itchrai go wheel to wheel. Really upset the Williams through that chicane, and now has the DRS on him. The McLaren of Blake Stevenson is going to try to run the outside of the Ferrari here, and it looks like that move will be said and done unless Jack Fletcher keeps it on the inside, which he has. Blake Stevenson goes wide, and now the two make contact. Chubb Tucker and Blake Stevenson have made contact, and they both spin out in the same corner. And no damage on either of them. I think none of them hit the wall, but man, that Mercedes of Chubb Tucker really wanted to get a nose in to try and have a say in that battle, but really was the one who took the pair out in the end.
Yeah, I do believe because Chaptaker overtook Nick Hamrick a moment before the incident, and he was just carrying way too much speed on the turn. Didn't slow down enough. He just wanted to get this move completed on Nick Hamrick, and that caused the incident.
Yeah, seemed to get a bit of oversteer even, because the Mercedes flicked pretty rapidly onto, what was it now? Who was it that he hit? Man, short term.
It was Blake.
Yeah, he hit Blake really quickly and out of nowhere, so I was surprised to see the two make contact, but now they are both around and out of the top 5. Meanwhile, Itchrai fighting with everything he has to get in the DRS of the Mercedes. He will do so. So good job using the battery. Blake Stevenson already making up more positions on the Ferrari. Gets a big moment out of the chicane, but Merck is actually getting a good run on both of them. He's got the battery wide open, and he's going to overtake. And meanwhile, ahead, Spanini, Combined YouTuber, and Enrique McNubi are going all at it at once. Looks like Combined YouTuber will be the one with the most positions gained at the end of this, but pretty much all these drivers have flashing ERS lights, so interesting fact there.
Yeah, meanwhile, look at Trent. He's still holding close behind Nick Hamrick, and it's huge gain for Aston Martin driver.
Yes, he's actually gone wide of the final corner, and he might lose out of DRS here. He's gone fully on the battery to make sure he doesn't lose out on DRS, but will that be enough for the first sector? It looks like he will stay in the DRS for now. But yeah, right now Itchrai not in the DRS of the Williams, or of the Mercedes, I should say. And John Ranger not within that 3-second gap that he needs to be winning this race. So we could have a very close race win tonight.
I mean, what Jack Fletcher is pulling huge pressure with that DRS advantage on Williams' driver.
Yeah, sends him wide. And now the line goes to Jack Fletcher. He has the DRS here, and it does look like he'll have the move done. You can see the flashing light, and meanwhile Buzzgod has actually gone around here. He's fully off the track and cutting the grass in the chicane. Man, I don't know how you managed to find grass in a circuit where there is barely any grass, but he has done so, so off the track and into P16 right now. Meanwhile, yeah, Jack Fletcher getting past the Williams. Small battery advantage, but nothing more than small.
And Nick Hamrick and Trent are still really close, so still in that battle for P3.
laps, and do remember that Nick Hamrick has the time penalty, so Trent does have this position on track right now. Well, Jack Fletcher's really been dropped by John Ranger again. So, for the first time, John Ranger is back into the 3-second gap that he needs to be to win this race. He is our net race leader right now. So, anything that happens behind him can only help him here. Looks like the Williams is not going to go for the toe on the Ferrari. I don't think he wants to overtake here. In fact, he's not even going to have the DRS on for this part. But the Red Bull does have it open, so a bit of risk not going on the DRS there. They'll seem to get it. The Red Bull, decent drive through the chicane. It looks like the Williams will be the one having the last lap. Right now he's going to overtake the Ferrari here. But the Red Bull, will it follow suit? It looks like Nick Hamrick's going to try around the outside of Jack Fletcher. Might be a bit optimistic, but does have the power down nice and early. Does have the inside line now, so Jack Fletcher is going to have to lose 2 positions here when he really didn't want to lose any at all. Meanwhile, Nadewell, another time penalty for him, 3 seconds, so would put him about P17 right now.
And another interesting situation is behind combined YouTuber on P7, because there's also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 driver battle for position. Blake Stevenson is doing everything he can to go back to that top 10 spot. And Sponini can't find a way to overtake AlphaTauri driver, and he is under pressure as well because of that nasty tank penalty.
Not sure how far I'm behind with that OG, but Shry's battery is 17%, and he's going to be overtaken now by Nick Hamrick, and actually no he doesn't. Red Bull backing out of it at the last second. And this
And Enrique McNerney making double move on the braking zone to,
maybe not.
to the chicane, but he's losing those positions immediately because of going way too deep over there.
Might even lose another one as Merck tries to power his AlphaTauri down as Nick Hamrick has retired. What has happened? We have a virtual safety car here. Where has Nick Hamrick retired? He's retired in the middle of the track. No front right or front left suspension here. Absolutely insane. Nick Hamrick is out of the session and straight on the middle of the track. How did he lose it there? He's still got a front wing on the car too.
Only thing I can say after I seen how Spanini, Enrique and Merck are going closing into that Red Bull.
Trent's into the bits.
Yes, indeed,
And
drives through because of, oh my god, and we are already clear. Now. Really short and Sway with problems. He spans out on the penultimate corner. Grant, meanwhile, decided to go for fresh soft boots.
Very strange situation we have going on here. Virtual safety car at the last moment that we probably could have had a safety car. And it has happened, and at the cost of Nick Hamrick. Trent into the pits for soft tires. That seems like a horrible strategy call to me. After a night of really good ones, Enrique McNuby might get a double overtake again. Slots past the AlphaTauri and now down the inside of Spanini. Don't think he's going to be losing too many positions this time as the Alpine goes wide, but now the Alfa Romeo does have a moment, so this could be a wheel-to-wheel action into the next corner. It could be three wide action here. Combined YouTuber is going to make it 3 wide, and meanwhile Blake Stevenson and Merck behind.
Wide.
Yeah, nearly 5 wide, but 3 wide into that corner. The McLaren drifting a bit wide into the AlphaTauri. And this battle is for way higher positions now. All these drivers gained 2 positions in the meantime. Meanwhile, Merck is really just trying to capitalize on these drivers ahead of him. Can't really do much right now with the cards that he's been dealt, but he's doing a decent job.
Yeah, and I just checked the gaps between Chap Tucker is losing 2 positions. He's heading to the pit lane.
What? Why? 2 laps remaining, and the Mercedes driver comes into the pits to serve a drive-through penalty, I'd have to assume, because nothing has been put on the car. Meanwhile, back to combined YouTuber. might have a run on the Alpine driver ahead of him. He's got the battery on, so now he's gonna maybe get a run on the Alpine here for the chicane. I don't know if he wants to overtake because he's got the DRS off. Once again, this is common to see, but now Blake Stevenson is going to be gaining on both of them, nearly going into the back of the AlphaTauri. Doesn't do so, but now I think he'll have a good run on the pair of them. The AlphaTauri very, very sideways out of that corner. So DRS on, battery on, what will it be? Who will be ahead in this corner here? Spanini is going to be overtaken first by a combined YouTuber. Run the outside goes to AlphaTauri. Still on the inside, Spanini though. Will force the AlphaTauri a little bit wide, and meanwhile Blake Stevenson has to see the pair of them go by. Does get the inside line on Spanini though, so this could be an overtake here. Around the outside still goes Spanini, and they make a bunch of contact. I thought that the contact was pretty minor until I saw, oh, there's more contact. There's a lot more contact. What is happening here? 4 cars making contact all together. I can't really tell you which drivers it was at the end, but Alfa Romeo did go into the McLaren for a little bit, so loads of contact there.
I mean, like close behind them, Arrow and Ethan Patel are fighting for last spot in top 10.
Meanwhile, we continue on with this battle for the top 6. Somehow, out of all of that, Merck was the one to
Yellow
go.
blocked
It's Mac.
In
No,
one,
it's the
it's
other.
Trent.
Trent on the soft tires. Interesting. And okay, let's go back to this battle here. Blake Stevenson makes it past Merck, but will Merck be passed by anyone else? I don't think so. The Aston Martin having a lot more complications in the back. Meanwhile, the race really unfolded very badly for him. So through the chicane,
Yeah, and they lost quite a lot of time to combined YouTuber.
Meanwhile, Merck has a great run. Nearly throws it down the inside of the McLaren, but goes wide, and Eric McNerney might capitalize on this. Doesn't do so, but does get a lot closer. Meanwhile, at the front, we have 1 lap remaining, and the gap is just over 3 seconds, so this has to be the lap of John Ranger's life. Wild Pro's already on the battery, having 8%, so John Ranger needs to use all of his resources here if he wants to get the win of this race, the win to continue his streak here. Will just be on board for him for a little while. Through the first sector, he's gained about a 10th, so he needs to continue this kind of form if he wants to keep going. And you're just biting your nails a little bit to see that gap just stay over 3 seconds right now. We have a little bit of time to focus on this battle that will happen soon. It's a battle we've been focusing on for the entire time, pretty much. A moment for the McLaren driver, and now Merck will be going for him next on the straight. Won't get it. No, John Ranger 3.1, and the AlphaTauri really lifting off. And that's going to allow Enrique McNuby to close up again. So who will
A
be
little bit of contact
into it?
between Merck and Blake Stevenson.
Yep, we'll keep on going though. DRS and ERS for everyone in this train here. So who will it be? Will it be Merck? I don't think he will get close enough to the McLaren. Meanwhile, 2.9 is the gap from our leaders, and we're into the final few corners of this race. So 2.9, 2.97, it's very close. Wild Pros will cross the line in P1 on track, but these are the last 2 corners of the Grand Prix. It's just barely there. Will John Ranger get it? I think he has. He's gotten the race win by 1/10, I think it was. 1/10 and 2 milliseconds. He will be absolutely proud of himself. It's Try P3, Jack Fletcher P4. Meanwhile, the battle continues on. Come on, YouTuber P5, Blake P6, Merck P7, P8, P9 goes to Enrique McNuby, and now Spanini and Ethan Patel go down plenty of positions. Arrow P9, Mac P10. Then it's Ethan Patel, the 2 Alpines. Labib Sway in his debut is going to cross the line in I think it will be 16 with the penalty that he has. And yes, there he goes down to P16, and then it's Trent and Nadewell who are going to finish it off in the end. So big win for John Ranger. That's going to be a huge amount of confidence in the championship fight for him, and that's exactly what he needed to continue his streak of race wins.
Yeah, but it's Try. I have to say, for me, driver of the day, he was starting quite far behind the leading pack. I do believe it was P11. He managed to finish the race on podium spot. Anyway, so great race for Williams driver.
Yes, sir. And there we go. I didn't skip it this time, but John Ranger levitating onto the podium. So let's take a
And
look
he
here.
is retaking the driver's lead on standings.
Yep, and for any incidents that involved the pit lane here are all of the race director track limits here. Plenty of them, honestly. We'll keep on going. And there you go. So here's our order. John Ranger takes the race win away from Wild Pros at the last corner of the race, and then Itchrai goes P3, then Jack Fletcher, then combined YouTuber Blake Stevenson, Merck go 5, 6, and 7, then Enrique McNewby, not John Ranger, Arrow is P9, and then it's Mac, Ethan Patel, the two Alpines, then Labib, Chubb Tucker, Sway, Trent, Nadewell, Nick Hamrick, and Steven Alvarez. Red Bull P19 and P20, that is very not good. That's actually a double DNF for them. So that is what we see here. Let's get on to our interviews now. Just give me a moment here. Do we have anyone waiting? Yes, we do. We have Itchrai. So we're going to bring in Itchrai first. And here he is, number B3, goes to the Williams of Itchrai. So talk us through it, Itchrai. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. It was a good drive through the field there, P11 to P3. So I'll take that, considering how quick the top two are. To be only a few seconds behind them after the whole race is pretty good. Happy about it. Lost as little points as I could to Ranger as I could today. So
Yeah, which I'll ask you about next. So he's overtaken you in the championship right now. So
yeah,
with
it's gonna be almost impossible for me to beat that kid. So kudos to him. He is on another level. So if he keeps winning races, yeah, this is gonna be an issue. So
yeah, he has been talking about the streak that he wants to continue on. So there could be 4 wins
I mean,
for
he
him.
should be in D1 with that kind of pace, my guy.
Yeah, but decides not to race D1 because he wants to broadcast D1 instead. But I think we know his caliber. But yeah, good job from you anyway. As you said, minimizing the damage.
Appreciate it.
And yeah,
Yeah,
have a good night.
it's a good. Thank you.
All right, so next is P2. It is Josh Mulder, Wild Pros in P2. I mean, missed it by a tenth. He had got that penalty, and we knew it would be crucial to the race win. And even with that virtual safety car, it just wasn't enough for you to pull away in the end. But yeah, talk us through your race.
Yeah, no, it was a tough race. Had a little bit of a rough qualifying, so I was worried about race pace, but I was able to get the passes early that I needed to. Frustrated with myself for just getting more wheel spin randomly on the last stint, which I think ended up costing me that 10th easily. And just unlucky timing for the VSC. Could have done without that, but it is what it is. It was a really fun, close race with John there.
Yeah, I mean, with the penalty and then, of course, the qualifying, I mean, it was all very close. I can't remember. Did you go P2? No, you went P3 in qualifying, right?
P3, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed you were pretty good off the line, though, and maybe for a moment you would have had P2 in the first corner, but just didn't really play out that way. But other than that, you had the race lead for a good chunk of the time, so just that last little margin that you couldn't beat. But yeah, good race from you otherwise, and yeah, have a good night.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Thanks always for streaming.
Of course. Alright, and next and last but actually first, of course, P1 continuing his streak of wins that he talked to us about last night. I was a bit more emotional about the win this time around, John Ranger, but yeah, talk us through it.
Yeah, I honestly I thought I had P2. Went across the line and my game showed that I was still behind by more than 3 seconds on the Wild Pros. And the logo came up, P1, and I saw the timetables. Yeah, really, really excited about this one. It was a long race. It felt like it was a very long race where honestly I couldn't get into many battles because of that, last lap ERS dump, typical F123 kind of fight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I saw the 3-second time penalty, and obviously if he hadn't had that, he would have won by a landslide. He had incredible pace on track, but I was really just in a mood where I'm not the most comfortable in Abu Dhabi, so all I wanted to do was limit the mistakes, not get myself spun around, and try to get good points here. Ultimately, I want to finish in front of Shry, who was making an incredible comeback behind me as well. He had a great race too, so I'll take that win. I'll extend the lead. And I don't remember the last time I won 2 races in a row, if it's ever happened for me. So yeah, totally ecstatic about that one.
Yeah, and next I think we have a random race, and then we have our finale in Silverstone. So, though, actually, no, it's not a random race. It is China. Yeah. So those 2 races. I mean, China is a tricky track. We saw that a couple weeks ago in real life, but then you got Great Britain. So talk us through your approach for the final 2 rounds.
My mentality right now is approaching these races, trying it to be absolutely flawless. I feel surprisingly comfortable around China. It's a fun track too, with some decent overtaking opportunities as well. Silverstone is a track that I also feel comfortable, but I know I could improve in several areas. So I'll have to work really hard for that season finale. You know, it's 2 wins in a row, but nothing's won yet. The mental games is already being played in the waiting room. I'm being told I'm going to win by a landslide. The championship is mine. For me, it is. There's nothing that is won as of now. I understand I take the lead, but I have to be P1 again in China and in Britain. I got to finish the season strong, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna say it seems there's more confidence in you winning the championship from Shry's perspective than it is for you, but I do like that mentality. So yeah, strong approach from the next 2, and I expect nothing less than Grand Slams from the next races. So enjoy your night. Congratulations on your win, and yeah, have a great night.
Thank you, Nathan.
And Luke.
Luke is here. Oh, Luke! Hi, Luke. Okay,
Yes,
bye,
I'm
Luke.
here.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that you got that out of the way, enjoy your champagne.
Yidis.
All right, ladies and gents, that is going to be it for Division 2. We had a little bit of a thriller towards the end with all the time penalties and all the gaps made. And, plenty of racing action. We got Nick Hamrick, who DNF'd at like the last possible moment that I would have expected. But it is what it is. We had a great race. Like and subscribe as always. And any last words, Luke?
It's been a pleasure as always to be here with you. Quite entertaining race. We had a lot to watch, and even with 2 of us, we didn't manage to see everything. So that says a lot about this race. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to be here with you, and have a great night.
All right, he said it. But yep, have a great night, everyone.